All right, welcome to your grand finals here. Tato will be spawning on the left side as the Latvia in blue, and to the west of the map, actually to the east rather, it is Saymyname playing as the red with the Yamato. Latvia versus Yamato, we have seen this matchup before. What do you feel based on what we have seen in this entire tournament, quarterfinals, semifinals, is the approach that will be taken by either of these players here?
Scouts. Scouts from Saymyname. I just have this feeling. I think it's going to be that same build we've seen him do 2 times now. It somehow worked against DauT, even though DauT had a better position, but on a, like at the start of the Tool Age. But yeah, I think Saymyname is going to do the same build. 3 vills forward, barracks, house, stable, granary. He's going to find berries in the middle of the map and then just have vills with the stable there. And I think that's going to be the play. I think it's pretty strong against Latvia because they have a tendency to go towards that archery range. So it just kind of like puts them a bit maybe uncomfortable in terms of exactly their strengths, whereas you're playing into your own, right? So we'll see how Tato handles that. I think he understands the threat. He saw DauT's game surely, so he knows that if he lets these units get in, things will be disastrous. But I think Tato's been a bit more careful with the house walls. He's respected that more in these games against Cool specifically. He always had like a response prepared. He always was walling behind the houses. So I suspect that Tato won't fall to the same tactics that Saymyname beat DauT with. But I think Saymyname obviously has more strength behind that. So we'll see how it plays. Also, he's had more practice now with the maps and the civs. So Saymyname could be a scary force here. And just with how strong Tato's looked, it feels... I don't want to say Saymyname's in the back, on the back foot already, right? We're still game 1, but my gosh, does he have an uphill battle potentially? I don't know. Like, what's his strategy going to be?
It's so hard to call this matchup, right? Like, both of these players have seen some insane sets being played. You go back to, let's say Saymyname beat ACCM 3-1, had a very convincing set against DauT 4-1. On the other side, Tato knocks out Kyo 3-1 in the quarterfinals, takes down Cool 4-2 in a very convincing set in the semis. It's really difficult to call what's the power balance like in the matchup of these two players. Both of these players really have played exceptionally well in the previous rounds, and we could easily see this set go all the way down to 7 games.
And I love Tato's approach here right away. Like, he's already got 8 vills on the berries, so really trying to use that Latvia bonus where you get that extra berry gather rate. So it's definitely playing to the Civ strengths with a unique Stone Age, right? And I think that's really important here is you got to adapt to the meta. You got to adapt to what players are doing, and you got to adapt to your Civ here. And he's just doing this so well right now that it just feels so scary. Oh, man. But I kind of like the base for Saymyname. I think Tato has a slightly better wall off, especially with how tucked away that wood line is on the left. Like, he can get a lot of free space in that little corner. So that should be pretty good. And we have the age ups coming in for both players. So Tato able to squeeze out an extra vill in the Stone Age even. Wow.
Nice little position over here. You even have some berries all the way at the back, so very well defendable base here for Tato. Opening will come from Saymyname in the form of a forward villager. It's going to be tricky, though, because... Oh, Croc. First of all, we got to look at the Croc. Mr. Croc just bumping into the villager, and look at that. Triple villager being pulled by Saymyname. Kind of the sign that tells you that he wants to play into that Scouts build you mentioned before. This is the way that he did that in the first set, or the first set of the day, rather, for him. He's going to play into the Scouts, but I'm not sure if he knows the exact location of Tato's base right now. He won't be very far away, but still, this could be a little tricky for him to find.
And I absolutely love the way Tato is playing this. He's blind making Clubman. He's got a 3rd Clubman in queue already, and if he needs to, he can quickly upgrade those to Axeman and have a defense against these early Scouts. And we saw how important that unit was at defending against these scout rushes, and we have both players making the wall upgrade already. And what building did Saymyname place? That's got to be a stable, right? Yeah. And then he's got berries right to the south of it, which we'll be lucky to spot. But Tato's going to full wall, so very similar situation to the games of Saymyname versus DauT. Although DauT went double stable, right? So this is a bit different now.
Yeah, look at the clubman coming in now from Tato. He's going to find this forward here a little too late to the party. He's going to have the Axemen start bashing down the stable. But the bigger problem for him is that he didn't find the base of Saymyname. So he's looking for that right now on the east side of the map. He really doesn't know that it's more situated towards the south. And look at that, 3 villagers now being pulled here. Some of the zebras also stuck on the outside. That's going to be an added level of pain for Tato. And oh no, he doesn't know. He's looking for the opponent's base, and he's going in the wrong direction.
They're both scouting in the wrongish area, but... so Saymayname's going to realize that Tato got a full wall off here with his TC, so he knows that Tato's economy is likely scaling way ahead of his. And Tato, like he said, gets that extra berry. I think that's why the GL boys were preferring Lac Viet on this map, is they realized that this map has a bunch of extra berries, and it just makes so much sense to pick Lac Viet when you can get potentially even extra berry in your own base. And so he's in a really good position now. The house wall going to be relying on that, but it even has stone in here and even a gate behind that. So just such smart play. He's really prepared for the potential dive, for the all-in, because look at the villager counts. 28 to 21. Tato just needs to hold his villager count alive, and he'll have a much stronger bronze timing if he can just keep his army in good enough shape to defend.
Yeah, this is the big thing, and this is the thing that Tato and DauT both realized. This is an all-in build from Saymyname. He stops producing villagers at around 20 or 21, and then just goes for the damage. But with the walls complete, it's difficult to pull off this aggression now for Saymyname, and Tato just needs to wall up. Almost worked to perfection for DauT, but for DauT, he relied too much on those house walls. Tato, seeing how DauT kind of collapsed under the pressure once the house walls were broken through, he's going to focus a lot more on these stone walls, and you already see him pulling ahead by a villager count of 11. Once he finds the base of Saymyname, he could do even more damage. I think there are some villagers that are exposed. Indeed, a couple of them building a storage pit around this area. Tato with the better military count and also a much higher villager count now.
Now, Saymyname is going to have to find an answer to these bowmen, so he has to keep his scouts alive, but if Tato's able to link up the axemen with the bowmen, that'll be a really terrifying force to be reckoned with, and we do see Tato moving out on the map. This is an important moment here. Only 3 axemen in tow, actually, so he's even going to kill the villagers here. A huge loss that Saymyname just simply cannot afford. Oh, well. Oh,
Lovely
nope.
push.
They all die.
Beautiful push here, and as you said, Saymyname can't afford these losses. He gambles on having a low villager count and doing damage himself. He cannot afford to lose any villager over here. He just lost 3. Well, make it 2, but the third one just now got clubbed down by that X-Men. It's looking grim now for Saymyname. He's outnumbered 35 to 19 on the villager department, and it's not like his army is very terrifying either compared to what Tato has.
Yeah, no, seriously, this is tricky, and Saymyname's gonna have to find, like, some sort of engagement here. Tato might get himself a little caught in the middle of the map. That is a lot of scouts, right? Like, it's not like Saymyname's food count was so much lower. He just invested it into scouts instead of vills, so this army is quite scary from him. And it looks like we're gonna have an attempt to breach this. The slingers are behind it, revealing the ranged unit's gonna stop the vills from repairing behind this. Tato probably big decision point. Does he go forward or does he come back? These slingers are here in mass, and the gate was open.
This is dicey for Tato. This went the same way for DauT. He defended so well, but once the walls were broken through, it was a disaster. As you said, slingers now in here, picking off quite a few villagers, making those walls. On the right side, the walls are incomplete. Tato is going to have to scramble for more villagers. He needs to get these walls up. Also needs to be cautious not to open that gate accidentally, through which those slingers could flood in. Walls will be incomplete, but Tato decides to send his forces towards the base of Saymyname here. Will be able to pick off a couple of villagers as the axemen now come out. 4 axemen to try and push away the slingers, also threatening all those scouts. This is a fight that Saymyname may not be able to take, and he's going to have to call off his forces for the time being.
Yeah, he's just going to use the hill bonus really nicely there, but using the scouts very briefly, and now the bowmen are in his economy, so 2 stone miners going to go down, critical for making that slinger mass, and he's going to have to retreat, but they're both dead. Oh boy, and that's even more vills behind now. TaToH's up a solid vill lead. Look at that. Is that 37 to 19? That's a
correct.
huge eco lead.
That's a huge lead, and look at this. Big mass of Axemen and Bowmen here. They can bash their way through those walls, deny repairs. Archers can start picking off the villagers right away. And you see, this is gonna be next to impossible for Saymyname to hold. If TaToH can drag this out a little longer over here, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna have to get a tower up here. Gate being bashed down though, and he doesn't have a lot to defend with. You see him dropping a market behind that gate, trying to get some additional time for himself. Tower is complete. Units trying to flood in though. Villagers will be caught in the crossfire. Slingers picking off villagers en masse. And that's a lot of villagers that have to be sacrificed by TaToH to try and keep this wall alive. Tower though slowly grinding down the forces of Saymyname here. Back at home, Saymyname is also taking a big punishment, but TaToH needs to find a way to survive this.
Yeah, it could be a big neutralizing moment. Saymyname's trying to build walls, but his vill count is just so low. So if TaToH can just hold this, which it looks like his quick walls have been quite strong here, and he's slowly built. Oh, the barracks goes down.
TaToH trying to quick wall this. Only one scout though, notably. And most of these units are slingers. They don't have a crazy amount of damage. Saymyname has to flee with every single villager he has. No functional economy for him. If TaToH cleans this force up inside his base, that's the game. And he's got a second layer of walls behind this, but he still needs to find a way to clean this. Saymyname fleeing with his villagers, being chased by the Axemen. He is going to start losing whatever little he has left from his eco. All that he really has is that force of slingers, probably insufficient to win the game with.
Yeah, you really have to start to wonder if this strategy is that good from Saymyname. It felt like he got lucky against DauT, and TaToH just completely shut this down. Like, even in this good case, he got damage in on his opponent, but just all-inning just doesn't feel like it's the way to win the game right now. At least on this map, where TaToH was able to wall up, I just didn't feel like it worked. Look at the vill count, 9 vills. 9 vills.
That's very sad, very, very sad. And you see TaToH even spots the villagers in the middle. Saymyname will try to catch up, but as the pressure goes away from TaToH's base, you can really see that villager advantage starting to work. Saymyname is just down to 8 villagers here. All he has is a force of slingers. If TaToH mixes in a couple of scouts over here, this game is instantly over.
Yeah, a couple scouts would end it, or he has a couple axemen. TaToH could kind of do anything and the game's over because there's no way for Saymyname to come back with 8 vills. I was ready to say 7 vills, but oh boy.
Is there a difference?
No. And another big army from TaToH. Okay, here we go.
It's
so Saymyname should be calling it quite soon, right? But what do you think his mentality is going into like a game 2 situation after this?
I think the first thing to note is that this all-in isn't gonna work. The all-in, the scouts play has caught some players off guard in the quarterfinals, the semis. But this is not something that's gonna work against TaToH because TaToH has seen this build, he's adapted to it. And I think part of this, right now Saymyname not tapping out, is simply him thinking, okay, what else can I do in game number 2? This is something that you often see in competitive sets. Players just buying some time for themselves, buying some additional time to think about the strategy for the upcoming game. Taps out finally, but as we discussed, this game was essentially over for 3-4 minutes. It's more about the fact that Saymyname is just kind of theory crafting for the next game now. He knows fully well he was down to 8 villagers.
Yeah, trying to maybe think about the draft, like what civ he wants to play, what strat to go through. Maybe thinking about what went wrong. Maybe he needs a scout play that doesn't require you to idle your TC. But yeah, tricky stuff for him indeed. Like TaToH just repelled that just so masterfully, and there was a lot of pressure. Like Saymyname's aggression seemed good at times. Like he was killing vills. It was just TaToH just wasn't idling his TC and always had enough. Lack Viet definitely proving powerful on that Gold Mountain, by the way. The finals.
Don't get deceived, this is the finals, and we have a really good matchup on our hands. On the right side, it is going to be TaToH with the Assyrians in blue, and to the left, we will have Saymyname playing as the Shang in red.
Yeah. And once again, Sahara. So, big key features of this map are the this kind of elevated area where you have minimal resources and it's pretty open. And then when you go down into like this valley almost, there's a lot of wood. There's a couple ponds with shorefish. We saw Cool using the shorefish in his game against Tato where he won on this map. So Saymyname maybe even or looking at the game that Cool had and saying, okay, how did you do this? How did you win this? Right? And so maybe that was an approach he took. But I'm not sure. It seems tricky. I almost just hope he doesn't do the all-in again because I just have this feeling that it's just not going to work against Tato. He is playing just so well right now.
Yeah, you really feel that Tato, seeing the sets that Saymyname has played, he saw this all-in style approach, and he's going to be like, okay, I'm ready for this. I want you to invent something new if you want to beat me with something like that. Tato with a front deer on the other side. Let's take a look at the deer patch for Saymyname for a brief moment. It's actually interesting to see. Let's talk about that for a brief moment, by the way. We are right now on the perspective of Tato. You can see at the bottom of the screen how he's allocating his command group keys. He's going to have villagers grouped on each of them, and his town center is actually tossed on 5. It's always interesting to see those little details, how players are using their control groups. I guess there's not much to talk about that. It's more about just an intriguing element of their gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you want vills on the control groups here because there's just so much to do with different vills all over the map, right? Like, you don't have just your scout, right? You have to have multiple scouts, multiple villagers exploring the map, figuring out the lay of the land, and there's all sorts of elements with this, right? With your scout, in like AoE 2, obviously you don't want to be inefficient scouting, but like you can almost afford to at times just like wait or something, right? But you have to think about it in the sense that if your scouts are all villagers, there's a huge opportunity cost, right? Like if you scout poorly with 2 vills and your opponent scouts more efficiently with 1 vill, then they're just going to have way more resources than you. So every vill you pull off has to be worth it. It has to have an intention. It has to have a goal and a purpose, and it has to pay off in the end. And so that's going to generally be like finding food on the map, finding your opponent, setting up a forward base, right? Like you need to be doing these really critical things, and you can't do any of them without vision. So scouting is just such an interesting part of AoE 1. I love the gameplay that you don't have the scout. It's actually just so different from a lot of other Age games that it just gives you a very different feel, especially from even a casual level. Like you load into the game and you're just surrounded in the unknown, right? And it's sort of like this slow expanse. And here we see Tato once again making an early move towards the middle. We saw this against Cool, right, Lidakor? He went early to the middle and Cool never punished it. But maybe Saymyname will take a different approach.
The Tato is also luring in the elephants from this downhills area, but a lovely little pit, a little storage pit rather, that he has placed in the middle. You could see that he also kind of just sandwiched 2 villagers in between the trees and the storage pit, so those will be much more difficult targets for early clubmen or, dare I say, scout aggression. But I guess the bigger question is, what is the plan for Saymyname? I see multiple red dots moving through the map, and if it is 3 villagers pulled once again, you know what's coming.
Exactly. So 2 vills this time, it looks like, though. So less of a commitment. Maybe the intention here is not as all in. Maybe he'll keep vill production going. He's got a much faster time, like you said. So really tricky. Oh, there is a 3rd vill. Oh boy. Oh no. But I mean, this wood line is very exposed, so it feels much more feasible for this to work.
Quite possibly, Tato is going to sneak to the left of his opponent's base, whereas for Saymyname, he's just going to drop a house over there. Barracks is the opening for him, but he's getting cavalry armor. You know what's coming. He's at 19 villagers only as well. Last time he did this, he played with 21. If he tries this with 19, that's going to be so difficult. Tries to go for the wall himself. Tato with the clubman opening on the other side. Villager got spotted by Tato. He knows there's a forward coming, but he's yet to see the barracks in front of his base. There's the stable coming up. Tato, no defensive buildings back at home. He's just now grabbing the walls, though, and once he does that, look at that little artifact just doing the scouting, and you elaborated on this before. You get that artifact, it's going to provide you extra line of sight, so you can much more easily acquire that target, the opponent's base.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I love this follow-up from TaToH. He doesn't really see the walls yet, but I guess you just said the artifact may have spotted the walls, so it's sort of like the Bowman follow-up to this Axe Rush has just seemed so solid from TaToH. And the Assyrian Bowmen are no joke, dude. They absolutely slap. They just have so much attack speed. And TaToH's economy, though, is actually quite exposed. He's going to be forced to build a barracks at home and wall it up. The Scout with the armor upgrade so durable against these villagers, though. So oppressive here.
And there's nothing close to that town center when it comes to food sources. The gazelles are far away, the berries are far away. Those scouts can do a lot of damage right now on TaToH's eco. He's going to respond with a couple of axemen, but this is exactly what Saymyname wants to do here. Just poke and probe those villagers, keep coming back and harass them. But back at home, he's going to have to address those bowmen coming towards his lumberjacks. Just a very chaotic game here right from the beginning of Tool Age. Here comes the first bowman, and you mentioned this. Those guys, it's a machine gun in the ancient times, just massacring that villager behind that wall.
Have you ever seen Legolas in Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
You know when he's just like looking at like 100 orcs, and then 100 seconds later he's fired 100 arrows, 1 per second, and he's like just having fun counting. That's what Assyrian bowmen feel like in Return of Rome. They just go, man. they just freaking go. It's really awesome to watch. But now I'm worried about Saymyname's position because he doesn't really have a defense at home, whereas TaToH is at least holding. Like, he's not losing vills, and Saymyname is about to lose vills, and he's down 5 already. And here comes the pressure. He's got the bowman being produced, but it feels really tricky.
This is so hard, right? He's coming in with the bowman, but one-on-one, the Assyrian bowman will win. Back at TaToH's base, there is a bowman coming as well from Saymyname. TaToH's villagers are kind of trapped, so TaToH needs to respect this, especially because there are also 5 scouts out there. And it looks like Saymyname might be holding. TaToH's aggression is fading, and inside his base, he's really struggling to clean up these scouts, the archers, and I think... for a moment, Mr. Croc also joins the fun. TaToH starts to lose a lot of villagers here. And the scouts are still alive. That's the big thing. In fact, their numbers are growing. This almost all-in style aggression seems to start to work here for Saymyname.
Yeah, and he's got 3 bowmen to defend, and he kills one of the bowmen. Ooh, almost kills one of the bowmen. But 3 bowmen now for TaToH. Saymyname gets the defense. Oh boy, he's watching that chop through. Oh, bit of a miss micro there for Saymyname. And honestly, the vill counts are pretty even. So no decidable lead for either player, and I definitely say that the army favors Saymyname with all these scouts on the field. He could even afford to send the scouts back, I think, and try and get damage.
He's out here for blood. You see, he can hold back at home with a couple of archers, just buy some time. Whereas on the woodline of TaToH, a massacre is about to unfold. Nowhere to go for these villagers. Archers just pinning them down from both sides. And the scouts slowly bashing their way through the walls. TaToH tries to get some defensive archers out here, but his lumberjacks are being shut down. Villager count now dead even, which is never a good sign for a player who's not supposed to be playing all in, that is TaToH.
Yeah, but so disaster struck for Saymyname though. He wasn't watching his woodline, and it looks like he just lost everybody. 4 bowmen there, so he has to reciprocate. He absolutely has to kill every villain here. Otherwise, this will just be a huge disaster for him. TaToH though has a bowman. It's shooting the other bowman of Saymyname, so I think Saymaname's about to fall.
Yeah.
I don't think he has any follow-up here.
That's the big thing. I was thinking the same. Assyrian bowmen behind this wall might be able to keep these villagers alive, although the scouts are very close to getting in.
Oh.
Yeah, they're in. Scouts are in now. TaToH tries a quick wall. If those scouts ever get in, those villagers will be massacred. Both players, less than 15 villagers at this point for them. TaToH just massacring the eco of Saymyname. Saymyname doing the same thing to him. How is this game going to continue, Winston? I mean, neither of the players will have a functional economy at this point.
I mean, TaToH's got 3 vills on wood. And 2 berry vills. And another storage pit going down. Saymyname, I don't know where his economy even is. They both have 10 vills, though, so it's actually dead even.
Well, let's try finding the economy of Saymyname here. There they are. TaToH doesn't have eyes on that, and this, frankly, this could be... Uh-oh. Hold it. If TaToH sees that, that could be the game. TaToH actually relocates his base, if I'm not mistaken. Is that a new town center we are seeing? I think his initial town center is gone, and he just replaced it elsewhere. We could... Yeah, look at that. Brand new town center.
Yeah.
Just a fresh restart here for TaToH on the left side.
Yeah, it's just deleted and rebuilt. Now, the advantage in this really spread out game is going to be towards these scouts, and he could get a huge pickup here against these bowmen. TaToH could be in a lot of trouble there. Vital military, he can't really afford to lose, but he's able to retreat with them to the Axemen, and the scouts not able to take the engagement. So it's going to be really up to Saymyname to find the damage with these scouts. He has to find the vills, which it looks like he might.
I think he spotted those villagers with his own villas, and if he did, as you mentioned, those scouts have the mobility advantage. The scouts also have the vision advantage, so acquiring targets is easier, but looks like Saymyname is not heading that way. He's going all the way back home. Players are kind of playing hide and seek with each other at this point.
Yeah, but TaToH just has a much scarier military. 15-6. It's just a matter of who finds who first. And even then, I still feel like TaToH's just with a decisive advantage, although Saymyname has been able to build, and he's going to find 2 vills here. He's built more vills in the downtime because TaToH rebuilt and everything. It didn't really work for him just yet.
Yeah, not at all. In fact, Saymyname, he can just pump out those villagers and go instantly on the berries.
There's something finding. The scouts, they find the elephants. That's huge for TaToH. He's going to have to find a way to survive this. All the scouts, every military unit on the minimap is running to this pond right now. This herd of elephants going to be our biggest point of contention in this game, as that's a huge army from TaToH. There's just no way Saymyname can fight this.
And this could be bad for Saymyname. His berries are right next to this. If TaToH ever spots that, his army is close by, and you see Saymyname just evacuating the dance floor, running away, TaToH needs to find a way to deal with those scouts. As you said, his army is still substantially larger and scarier, but Saymyname now possesses a 5 villagers lead, and TaToH is kind of pinned in here. He cannot leave, because if he does, the scouts will just massacre his villas.
Yeah, this is tricky. I mean, Saymyname is building up a nice mass of bowmen. He's going to take care of this house because he's afraid of the vision it's giving. Oh, man.
Such a chaotic game number 2 here. And things are stabilizing a little bit better now for Saymyname. He's catching up on the military department. Archer number is rising steadily. He still has his starting base with all the resources associated with it, whereas for TaToH, he's just kind of scattered across the map. Saymyname will try to push this once again. Little does he know that TaToH is still around. We'll see if he actually commits to this fight, seeing that TaToH is nearby. Looks like he'll just call off his archers. He might try to distract the archers here with the scouts as he moves in with his own bowman. TaToH, though, responding nicely.
You can't even get near that Assyrian machine gun-like group. That's a squad of modern armies. You know, that's just not even... You can't fight that. You can't fight that for now. You can't fight that for a while. You're going to need a lot of bowmen and a lot of scouts to take that down. Maybe even some slingers if you can mix them in. But yeah, I like how Saymyname has relocated his economy to the north corner, but not his town center, so you can still apply some pressure here. Meanwhile, TaToH, his vill count is starting to catch up, just 5 behind, and that's a very terrifying army for Saymyname to fight. He just can't fight this.
Exactly. And the thing is that Saymyname opted to go for more bowmen, not scouts. And TaToH has the numbers lead, not just the numbers lead, but the quality lead as well. But he leaves the villagers alone in the middle. Scouts swinging back, getting some beautiful picks as well. TaToH is down to 15 villagers. Axeman catching up. TaToH now needs to find a way to use these bowmen. He needs to find eco damage on Saymyname because he's now falling behind rapidly.
Yeah, but that was the big threat. It's gone now. These scouts are all walking around with one leg and one arm. And with them dead, TaToH's economy is a lot more safe, right? Oh, and the micro's there for TaToH. This is looking really good for him now. Saymyname had a strat that I think made sense, but my gosh, these Assyrian bowmen are just
He needs more scouts. He needs way more scouts over here. You see, they were just gonna get massacred. Archers getting picked off as well. In the blink of an eye, TaToH has a 16-4 army lead. All he needs to do, which is easier said than done, is to find the opponent's base and get those villager picks. Some of the villagers are down to the south. That's going to be a challenge for Tato to find. He's moving to the north, though, where you have a pretty substantial force of villagers from Saymyname. That's the prime target for Tato. He's only down by 5 vills. He can make up for that with the kills coming here.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Who's going to find who first? It looks like Tato is going to scout to the right with a couple of villagers and maybe spot the granary. Oh my gosh, this is messy. Oh, this migration is going to get destroyed. Tato's coming down with his bowman mass. Uh-oh. I smell disaster for Saymyname in just a few seconds.
Archers moving in, and they will just pick apart those villagers. Now Tato knows where to go. That's the big thing. It's always about acquiring these targets. Once he has them, it's an easy cleanup. Saymyname manages to retaliate at the farming eco, finds some good damage, but while doing so, he's also going to have to flee for his life. And right now, the only player producing anything is Tato. Saymyname is just running out of juice at this point.
Yeah, and running out of juice fast, you could say. The population starting to become 2-1. The Vill lead has now swung 5 in favor of Tato rather than 5 in favor of Saymyname, which it was just moments ago. And that's all because he just can't fight this army of bowmen. Like, that army of bowmen's just too much. It's too good.
Oh, villagers. Looks like they will avoid the bowman for a time being. Saymyname finds some picks close to the newly established base of Tato. It's such a hide-and-seek game at this point. Both of the players just trying to find eco damage. Especially for Tato, it's just so challenging. He's got limited vision, and Saymyname is just doing such a marvelous job hiding those small groups of villagers from this big mass of archers.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you could call this cat and mouse, but it feels more like lion and, like, ant. Like, I just don't see how Tato could really throw this unless Saymyname's raids just absolutely dumpster him somehow, which doesn't feel possible. Oh man, this bowman mass is just so scary. No answers on the field for Saymyname. He's trying to get his own bowman up, but after he lost that first army, it just feels so uphill. Or I guess first army, but like, you know, the scout group. That fight.
Oh, and look at this fight over here. Once again, Assyrian bowmen just dominating the playing field. Now armor is coming in as well for those bows. It's not like there is any melee units out there for Saymyname that could threaten them right now, but it never hurts to have some extra armor. Now Saymyname just down to 5 military. Tato has an 8 villager lead as well. It's double the population for Tato. He just needs that killing blow to finish the game with, and he's gonna be up by 2.
Yeah. I think is the only answer here, right? Like, there's just nothing really to do here. Saymyname just kind of drawing it out a little bit. Okay. He does call the GG now. Yeah. There was really no hope for him there. But, man, Tato just played that so well again. It's kind of crazy. And there was so much pressure here. I really felt that Saymyname had something going for him. Remember when both of the players had their woodlines under pressure and Saymyname had those scouts and he got in, but like Tato was just able to come out a little ahead there. And then just at one moment, it looked like Saymyname was winning. And then Tato just wiped that whole woodline with a couple more bowmen. And it just all fell apart for Saymyname after that. He really didn't have a follow-up. Didn't really have any pockets of economy. Tato rebuilt the TC, which ended up being a good play. He made a gambit on the elephants because he could. He could afford to sit there. And those elephants ended up paying off for him a lot. So, I mean, props to Tato for just a really well-played game there. That was fun to watch. And a really interesting, like, hide-and-seek kind of cat and mouse situation at the end, right? I don't know.
We're jumping into game number 3 on Alliance, another open map, very reminiscent to Age of Empires 2's Arabia. It is going to be the Shank in the hands of Tato, and on the other side, it is the Lac Viet for Saymyname.
Let's go! Oh, baby. This looks cool. Interesting Alliance spawn. Very open map for Tato on the front. Whereas Saymyname a bit more closed off, right? If you just check out the minimap there, yeah. It's interesting.
Interesting map spawn indeed. Very well volleyball here for Saymyname. On the other side, maybe not so much for TaToH, but unless you take a look at game number 1, it didn't really come down to walls. It was more about, okay, how well you can position your aggression. And, well, frankly, for the first 2 games, it was more about how functional is that all-in style approach that Saymyname has been taking.
Yeah, I mean, it just hasn't really worked, the all-ins. I think it is what got him here to a degree, though, right? So it's sort of like, do you give up on it?
I don't have an answer to that, to be honest. I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the saying. But if it's broke, you might have to. If you just lose one game, I am fine with that. You try it again, see if it works. But now you're down 2, and I think the risk that you start running is, let's assume that you try this again, it doesn't work out. It's 3-0 for TaToH. Even if you win the game that comes after, TaToH will just go for Alliance, or Citadel rather, a map where you simply physically can't pull off this strategy. So I feel like this is the point where you simply cannot gamble, because if you end up losing this, like you did in the first 2 games, then your position in this set is going to be in jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't get something to work this game, like you said, jeopardy is the best way to frame it. TaToH being up 3-0, it just feels like, yeah, you just start going to his maps if you win, right? Like, you have to take TaToH to Citadel or Nomad. Like, he's played like such a beast on those maps. Like, Saymyname surely can't be happy with that. His strategy preparation definitely feels more for these big open maps where the game's chaotic, but it seems that in the games where there's water or where there's like the arena style wall in, like, TaToH has just been so dominant against some of the best players of AoE 1. So it seems really tricky to see how Saymyname is going to come back from this series deficit already. If he doesn't find some momentum here, it's just going to be really hard, I think. Storage bit coming down for him. His Gazelle lure was really crisp. Like, that's kind of really good to look at. You see that very close proximity, all those Gazelle to the TC. So he's doing the right things. Different approach than TaToH, though. Remember when TaToH was in this position, he had 8 vills on the berries already to make use of that faster gather rate and to try and get a faster age up. And that let TaToH get really nice walls off when he was on the Lac Viet. So interesting approaches there from TaToH. Compared to Saymyname, right?
Indeed it is. TaToH could have also gotten a very juicy storage bit here, by the way, close to those Gazelles, the gold, do it. Nothing to complain about what he had, though. That's still a very nice one. And I think the thing I love about this position for TaToH, just looking at this screen that we're looking at right now as Vodka switches away, it's the fact that you can use that gold mine as a natural barrier, as a natural wall, and you could make a very tiny wall for TaToH that still secures most of the lumberjacks. Yeah,
I guess you're saying, like, you can definitely make a cute little wall off with the TC for sure. I mean, in general, you don't want to be in that position. Probably definitely against Lac Viet, who want to make Bowman, but as we can see, TaToH's going to be the one laying on the pressure this game. Saymyname may be taking a different approach. He's not doing this all in. He's going to play a more standard game. I don't even think he has a Vill on the map. So he is just playing for full defense here. Going to try and rush up the walls. He's sending out a clubman early to look for the units of TaToH. And we'll see if he can spot this paint, because that's a pretty aggressive barracks from TaToH, and if TaToH follows that up with a stable or a range, I suspect a range. I think TaToH's been really favoring the Bowman this game, or in all of his series, right? He hasn't really experimented a ton with scouts. He's been just making a lot of Bowman. So I suspect he'll just drop a range right next to this barracks once he gets the chance. And here's the range for Saymyname. And already walls on the way. Armor on the way for the clubman. But that guy will be dealt with the first Bowman from Saymyname. It's in queue now.
Nice defense. Jumps back into the town center with the injured villager. Gets the walls up before the second clubman would come in. Axeman is yet to be finished. And as you said, the first archer should be able to deal with this one. And look at that quick market coming out as well for Saymyname. Saymyname just now finding this forward here from TaToH. Might actually have a chance to deny that archer range. It looks like he may have not spotted it just yet.
I didn't see it just yet. He's got to focus on his wall off. This clubman coming around now, an axeman. So this villager is going to be under pressure. He kind of lost sight of that axeman. So the bowman now coming to defend it. He didn't take any time to hit it with the villagers. So this axeman is still pretty decently hit pointed out. But he's going to go down now. Not much chance for significant damage here. And the question is, what is TaToH's follow-up? He has this aggressive position on the Lakviet. And he's going to go double range against them. Seems a little risky, no?
I don't mind this. I think the idea that he could be following is that you have limited amount of resources inside your base if you're Saymyname. In fact, seeing that Saymyname went for that market kind of implies that we will see farms making an appearance rather sooner. Which means that if that's the thing that TaToH is playing into, especially with how exposed all the wood is that's accessible for Saymyname, heavy archer commitment could actually work out. Problem is that he's outnumbered very heavily on the archer department, and his forward is also at the bottom of the hill, making it very difficult to fight against these guys.
Yeah, and Saymyname grabbing the hill is really important, right? Like, he's forcing TaToH back, forcing TaToH away. He's full walled, and what I love about Saymayname's position this game is he just has tons of space. Also, importantly, he spotted both ranges. He sees the threat now. And he's also even, I think he's off to the south of his map. I don't know if we can spot that, but is he like on berries there, or are those just some houses to the right, kind of? He's got some stuff going on over there. Yeah, as Lakviet picking up these berries is so critical, and TaToH's just not on that side of the map. And now we have a big engagement, but Saymyname has the hill.
He definitely does. This is not a fight that TaToH wants to take. Has to jump around with the archers.
Oh. That was a pretty big mistake. You'd think TaToH would know to not try and go up the hill when, I mean, Saymyname was just boldly hitting the range, so he knew how many archers that was, but maybe that's a ploy to push him off the hill or something. So now you can see, this, so if you're new to AoE 2 mechanics, you can see that blue flag is sitting above the archery range, and that means that there are units inside of it. This is a new mechanic for AoE 1. If you're from AoE 4, we don't have that really in AoE 4. It's just where you can garrison the unit into the military building as it's being produced, which means that you can pump them out whenever you're ready, up to a max of 10, of course, without like getting camped. Because in AoE 1, it was a really big deal that you could camp the production buildings of the opponent, and it would just kind of shut it down, and they couldn't use it anymore. But now with this garrison mechanic, you can buy yourself a little time without idling all your buildings. And so we can see now there's kind of a lull in the fighting as TaToH's just kind of forced to give up his base.
Yeah, but look at what's happening behind this. First of all, Saymyname had to idle his TC so long to build up this archer advantage. He's down by 5 vills, and now TaToH is going up to the Bronze Age. He's going to drop additional ranges over here, and now he's working his way towards those berry villagers. You mentioned this before. As the Lakviet, you want to get to those berries. But that's something that your opponent knows as well. He's going to try to probe those berry patches every once in a while, see if he finds any value there. TaToH could have gotten a lot more if he didn't bump into that house, but still pushes away the villagers.
Yeah, this advantage to the Bronze Age is looking scarier and scarier for Saymyname, who's still several hundred food away. He should be just a moment away. He's idling fully for the click now. Just needs 200 food with only 14 on food, though. That can be tricky. Getting out that pushed off those berries was kind of the wrong moment. But he's going to make do, and it looks like TaToH might just be considering Composite Bowman, which is a solid unit choice here. Especially against Lakviet, right? You don't want to get caught trying to go melee units against Lakviet because all of their ranged units have +2 melee. So if you're going to outrange if you're going to beat the Lakviet in combat, it's going to be with ranged units, right? Because the bowmen have no bonus against another ranged unit, right? It's not like Assyrian or Hittite, which win the one-on-one. So it's a very different style of bonus for AoE 1 as well, as TaToH forced to idle 2 farms.
Yeah, also having his lumberjacks exposed over here to the archers, TaToH is waiting patiently for an opportunity to jump on those berry villagers once again. But Saymyname decides not to move out. Instead, Bronze Age is in. You see improved bowmen coming in, Wheel as well on the way for TaToH. Could see additional town centers being dropped. Now tries to pop the archers, tries to find an opening, but will not find any villager picks here just yet.
Yeah, getting a little bit of damage in, but like you said, nothing super substantial, right? Composite Bowman already on the way, so improved bow already in, so getting that mass up. But, oh, they pop out, so maybe a bit of a chance here for Saymyname to get some early damage in before these units get upgraded or massed. Wheel is in, though, now for the villagers for TaToH, so a sizable economy lead will be growing. He's up 7 villagers and has Wheel already, and Saymayname's not even bronze.
Yeah, Saymyname is going to play into the cavalry. He's hiding the stables at the back of his base, going for the cavalry armor, something that TaToH has not yet scouted, and that could come as a nasty surprise. Also still has to respect these bowmen at the front of his base. Nice little move here from TaToH to avoid that. Now he's going into the composite bowman, though, getting close to those lumberjacks. Also has quite a lot of exposed villagers here in the north. Could be prime targets for the cavalry coming in here from Saymyname.
Yeah, this is looking scary. I mean, Saymyname has a nice score lead, though, so I kind of wonder what this is really from. Maybe his economic setup is a lot more durable, right? Because look at the farm count, right? Like, Saymyname just has a huge group of farms, so he can kind of afford to do whatever he wants, whereas TaToH, kind of on the back foot economically, might not be able to afford as many units as he needs in the mid-game here. Oh, this
Cavalry now coming out, trying to take a fight against the bowmen. Don't forget, TaToH played into those cavalry units against Cool with a two-age army. He's gonna try to do the same thing over here. Lovely move from Saymyname to pull back the injured cavalry. Might even heal it up with a priest later on. Comps slowly pushing those archers away, and it looks like one of the cavalry units will fall over here, but in exchange, it's gonna be a cleanup on the archers. And now Bowman diving in here for Saymyname, getting some valuable picks on those composite bowmen.
Yeah, Saymyname really getting good engagements here. He was later to the Bronze Age, but his counterattack really put TaToH behind on fielding like a functional army at the start of Bronze. So now Saymyname still comfortable at home. Can we check out what's going up at the north here? Okay, so it's just some vills, a TC from TaToH, so a bit cheeky with those vills on the berries. TC's kind of spread out all around the map here for TaToH, so he's going to be playing a very open game. We saw him try that against Cool in the semifinals, and Cool was eventually able to put him down with the aggression. That's a very like harsh phrasing, isn't it? But he's eventually able to kill him with all the pressure he put on. But man, TaToH's good at playing these open positions, Lidakor.
He is, and it's a remarkable comparison to draw between this game and the one that he has played against Cool. In there, you mentioned he spread out a lot, but he tried to do that with cavalry as his primary army. Didn't really work out, fell to camos plus composite bowman in the end. Kind of learned from that game, I guess. Now going heavily on the composite bowman, and his mass is slowly growing. Whereas on the other side, Saymyname has a nice force of cavalry, but if he cannot use that mobility and has to take straight-up fights, he's going to fall apart against the composite bowman.
Yeah, noticeably TaToH, I love this little enclave he's built in the north. It's going to be such a thorn in Saymyname's side later, because at any point he could just open those walls with a gate and build a couple stables and make some really annoying cav raids. He could later in the game as Shang that could become Scythe, which is very scary. Scythe chariots are really good, but for now this compy mass is growing, and it is becoming a problem. The Cav are going to need to get a beautiful surround, and so far it doesn't look like Saymyname is going to be able to accomplish that. Still taking engagements with the cavalry, just kind of head on, and letting the compies get good trades time and time again. Doesn't seem like the way that Saymyname is going to really come back in this game, or in this series.
He's got an increasing amount of cavalry out there, but he has lost quite a few precious units to those composite bowmen. Still 18 to 19 though. TaToH running into the cavalry hill. Kinda has to fight up hills if he even stops to fight. Now fires a couple of arrows down hills, but this is a beautiful cleanup here by Saymyname. Army numbers favoring him, and he also has much more valuable units. Breaks through the walls. Archers now coming in. Cavalry is inside the eco of TaToH. Gate is open. Cavalry could pursue, and they will pursue. Things are falling apart for TaToH.
Yeah, this was really bad for TaToH. He just lost all of his forward momentum on the front of the map, and he's trying to boom into it, and that is a very, very scary number of cavalry now on the field. Like you said, almost triple the cost, I want to say. I don't know the exact math. I forget the number, but it's like triple the cost for these cavalry. It's 150 res versus 60. Yeah, so it's close to triple the cost. of these compies. So when you have more cavalry than your opponent has compies, things are bad for the compies, right? You kind of need that big mass of your cheap unit, and you can see this attack is just going to be so devastating. This is a lot of cav.
It's a lot of cav. Composite Bowman will have to evacuate. They will have to regroup with the rest of the units out there. You could find some narrow choke points to take this fight in, maybe. You want to be cautious here if you're Saymyname. As you said, that army is very expensive. He's going to decide to take this fight here. Composite Bowman trying to hold ground, but the surround is beautiful, and this is a cleanup for Saymyname. There's nowhere to go for Tato. His Composite Bowman getting evaporated by all these horsemen surrounding them. But as I'm saying that, this might not be as bad for Tato as it initially looked. Still, it's a cleanup by Saymyname, and the cavalry lives. Straggler archers still available, but not much left for Tato. Down to 6 military. And once these archers are gone, his villagers will start falling as well. Seems like finally Saymyname is going to be able to get on board.
This was incredible stuff from him. He really got the timing against these compies. The fight wasn't perfect for him. I think it could have been a little better if he had waited for like 2 more cav and like actually gotten the right surround he wanted. But he pushed the issue, forced Tato up against the wall, and that was a lot of dead blue compies, and almost breaking in here on the north, which is starting to become a sizable portion of Tato's economy. So if that north ever falls, Tato's going to start to feel like he has nothing left. And here's another surround coming. Oh boy, gonna need some quick walls or something.
Tato is creating a beautiful choke point there, but he's distracted. He's having his villagers massacred on the north. Choke point is beautiful though, picks apart that cavalry mass. Still, he's losing his Composite Bowman slow and steady as well. This fight is as good as it gets, but I think this is the moment where Tato just looked up on the north, saw all his villagers getting massacred, and said, it's over, it's done. Saymyname puts one on the board with the power of the Lakhviet cavalry.
I loved that. You know why? Because, so Lakhviet, you might not think that their cavalry are great, but just on 2 stables, it's basically like you're on 2.5 stables with that military production bonus, right? So he was really able to pump his resources into something. And Tato was thinking, okay, your ranged units have extra melee armor, so you're going to be going ranged units. So I'm going to go compies, which are another ranged unit, just to try and like neutralize your melee armor benefit. And Saymyname said, okay, Shang compies have no bonuses, so I'm just going to go cavalry and just absolutely overwhelm you. And he did that so well. Keep in mind, he was up 2 minutes later to the Bronze Age, and he still had a really good timing there with the cavalry. So Tato, not able to really deal with his fast bronze. He didn't, as he had map control for so long, it seemed like a bit of a mistake from him to not try and like wall off his base a little further. And like take the space that Saymyname kind of granted him, right? Because Saymyname played turtle. Like he just defended until excited.
Well, we're jumping into game number 4 here. Tato, one of his most comfortable home maps. It is Citadel. He's going to have the Choson once again. And on the other side, it is going to be the Hittites. In a matchups where it wasn't a Hittite mirror, the Hittites are undefeated on this map. But so are the Choson. The only time that we have seen the Choson on this map was in the hands of Tato in the semifinals. Tato managed to win with them against the Egyptians. Remains to be seen whether he can do that against the Hittites.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, right? Like, his economy and control was really good against Cool, but Saymyname just has just way more options against that style play this game, in my opinion. So we'll see how he handles that. We'll see what he does with it. I think he'll be okay, but it's still scary. It's kind of scary for both, because if you fall behind on the flood, and those legions can start just knocking on all your buildings, there kind of isn't really a good answer to them anymore. Like, it does just kind of work, right? When there's just too many of them. But if you have, like, 60 heavy horse archer, those legions aren't doing crap this game, right? Like, if you have 60 heavy horse archer, they're just going to get one shot everywhere they go, right? So it's more about seeing how Tato can kind of flood the opponent before they're really ready, right? It feels a bit like Goths in AoE2, right? Or like an HRE infantry spam in AoE 4, right? Like, if you can get the ball rolling, it can be really scary, but Saymayname's units are way more powerful than what we've seen before.
I guess the big question right now is, this is the more obvious pathway that TaToH can take. But he also knows that Saymyname is aware of this. So knowing that your opponent kind of knows how you are supposed to be playing this game, is there any other way that TaToH could approach this? Is there maybe some sort of surprise strat that he could pull off in Bronze Age, or this has to be the way for him to win this?
Well, there are broadsword all-ins that exist, right? You can broadsword all-in, the unit is only 50 resources, and so there's kind of these timings where you go kind of fast bronze, and then you paint 4 barracks, or 5 sometimes, and you generally add more as your economy keeps scaling, and you just do 1 TC all-in, basically. And that can be really powerful. It can really catch your opponent off guard, but I don't know how good it is when your opponent has medium walls. Like, if this was an open map, it's still an option, right? It's really good on like a map like Mediterranean too, where like your opponent thinks it's going to be a big sea battle. They maybe like have some like barracks and a market as part of their wall, and they're waiting, and then suddenly 10 broadswords show up, and they have like they're still getting the composite bowman tech, right? So it's really about the timing on this chosen hit, but I don't see how that really works on Citadel. Maybe if you feature a stone thrower with it and you just hit the wall before they're ready, but like Saymayname's not going to just sit around, right? He's going to make chariot archers, so I don't see how you're going to surprise him when he's going to have a bowman on the map in the tool age and at least 4 chariot archers on the map in early bronze, right? He's going to use that archery range that he has to make sure he doesn't get surprised. We've seen that on every Citadel game. It seems to be very standard from the players to make sure that they're not completely blind to the approach of the opponent.
For sure, it's something that has been pretty standard. You want to have that vision in the middle because you never want to be surprised about that forward siege workshop. You mentioned this, that stone thrower eats those walls very fast. If you make sure that your opponent doesn't have a forward siege workshop, you're pretty much guaranteed safety behind those walls.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you can stop the stone thrower, you should be fine. And if you can stop that, it should be fine. Yeah, like it's more about these iron timings. I think we saw that in the game with Cool and TaToH. It definitely those Egyptian all-ins or whatever that ACCM tried. Like he was trying something, but I just don't think the formula works here. Like the timing just isn't good enough, and it's not powerful enough. I mean, maybe there's a way to break the wall with like a tower and some axemen or something, and you just try and like bust it in tool age, but I don't know, they have so much time to just wall behind that it just feels kind of like a waste of effort.
Tool age now coming in for both players. A bit of an actually, yeah, that's a bit of an advantage here for TaToH. He opts to go with 24 villagers. 25 is going to be the vill count for Saymyname going up. Just now luring in the second board. Barracks, interesting position there. Is that kind of just a secondary layer of walls in case TaToH ever breaks through?
Yeah, I think he's just going to try and wall across the front with the granary, just kind of casually. And you want your barracks near your wood line so you can wall with that as well. But we'll see. I don't think that's going to come into play too much. Unless something happens. Unless something crazy happens.
Nice and peaceful Stone Age so far. We have seen this so much, and it's actually very interesting to see this map. This is part of the reason why it's one of my favorite maps. At the beginning, it's very chill, and you're like, oh yeah, nothing is happening. But in the next 5 minutes, hell is gonna be unleashed. You will see the government centers being dropped, multiple town centers, and by minute 15-20, we'll be talking about 140 villagers for each player, and then suddenly it's just going to be a never-ending slugfest.
Yeah, exactly. It's really crazy how quickly the economies scale here, and looks like our Bronze Age timing is a bit slow there for Saymyname, but he's going to be up a vill for it. But yeah, I think that's fine for him. TaToH focusing on those economic upgrades at the market. They're so important to get in these fast bronze situations, especially now that you have more food than in classic AoE1. You have a bit more access to food. There's just a little bit more. It makes the builders a little smoother, a little cleaner if you're trying to do these fast bronzes, which means if you want your fast bronze to be tight again, you need to be getting the woodcutting upgrade and domestication on the way up, so your first farms are super powerful. Like they last a lot longer. You have the eco upgrades, and then you click wheel as soon as you get there. So we'll see. We'll see how these players approach the early Bronze Age. I can't imagine it's going to be anything other than a couple TCs, right?
Yeah, it has to be. But one of the big details that you pointed out is that you need that farm upgrade before you start dropping those farms. That's a principle you also got to follow in AoE 2 when you play these boomy maps. The concept being that if you drop these farms without the upgrade, they will start running out just when you really start building those new town centers, and then you have to make a decision between building new town centers or building new farms.
Yep. And here's Tato with the government center. Let's go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sentry tower already. Why did he research that so early? Was he maybe a little worried about some aggression? Does he just want to make sure that his walls don't get hit by anything, by any chariots and stuff? That's interesting approach. Maybe just wants to use the stone he has?
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's definitely interesting, but let's not forget that in the matchup he has played against Cool also put a lot of pressure on his walls with chariots, and he's likely expecting the same thing, just expecting Saymyname to try and pin him inside his base with those chariots. And if he feels threatened, he might just try to get some sentry towers out there on the border just to make sure that nothing breaks through initially.
Yeah, and we'll see the approach here. So Saymyname a little bit slower to the third town center. He's down 2 vills. He'll probably be down something like 5 in total, but generally that hasn't been the biggest of issues for these players. It's usually more about how they approach that mid game. Now you can see the power of these Hittite chariots with that extra damage. It's just so good. Interesting watchtower spot, just to prevent a little aggression from that side, but a little late. Gets cancelled, and ooh, doesn't have the stone, so he has to go back to stone if he wants to build another one. So these little details not really going to matter too much, but they could compound. I mean, Saymyname has map control with these chariots, like you said. And if he kills a couple vills, things could look good.
Domestication just now coming in for Saymyname. If I'm not mistaken, he has dropped quite a lot of farms before this, so that's a bit of an issue, right?
Can be. It depends. So you never want domestication if it slows down your vill production. But Tato, I think, was able to get it on the way up to bronze, so it didn't interact with his vill production. But if you don't have enough food, you don't want to get domestication and then not be able to afford wheel and a couple TCs right away, right? Like, it's just not worth it. So delaying it here is, like, kind of fine. Like, it'll matter. Looks like they had a pause in the game, but we're back. So vill count nearly even. Population nearly even. We're going to have a very even boom game. Although Tato going to get annoyingly housed a few times.
It's going to be annoying for him for sure. Looks like he's preemptively doing this though. He's going to have the watchtower up on the northern side. He is going to have somewhat limited space to work with. There is just no space behind your walls, which is something that can happen on a map like Citadel or Arena in AoE 2. It depends a lot on the map generation, whether you have a lot of space at the back or none. But the big thing is that it's consistent between the two players. So, quite frankly, Saymyname, looking at his map, can tell how much space TaToH has at the back of his base. And he knows fully well that these chariots are denying a lot of precious space and real estate here for TaToH.
Yeah, and he has to be aware of this timing, right? I love the addition of the Siege Workshop now that he has map control and he has a comfortable boom behind. This won't delay his Iron Age too much, but it'll give him very important control. If he can break in, it's going to mean TaToH needs a response. TaToH needs to make units very soon, and TaToH is not at his timing yet. He's still booming. He's going to have to make a couple towers. He's going to have to wall in his base again. But I think he's somewhat aware of this problem. Maybe thinking about adding some more barracks. Broadswordsmen are not going to be the choice here. It's going to be too little too late against this many CA. So it's going to be interesting if he can deal with this. It looks like Tato can sense that there's a siege workshop on the map, right?
Yeah, I think he has to. We really have to think about this in a way that Saymyname probably knows how the semifinals between TaToH and Cool unfolded on this map. So, in Saymyname's mind, the question is, what do I have to do differently than Cool? And the big thing is that Cool never was able to breach TaToH's base with these chariots. This is not going to be the case for Saymyname, and when he gets through these walls, chariots will just wreck the entire eco of TaToH. TaToH himself did that in the first round against Kyo, getting in with the chariots.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. He's gonna break in, and there's a bunch of house walls, and we've seen this many times in this series, right, Lidakor? House walls are not like AoE2. they are paper thin to Bronze Age units, especially. They will just die so fast. I think they die in like 2 hits to a stone thrower, so not really an option here moving forward. As Saymyname makes a little more space in the wall for himself, and then he's gonna go in here.
I think there is even a gap between the government center and the barracks, but even if there isn't, these house walls, they won't last long. TaToH trying to get up the sentry tower in here in time. Problem is that the chariots will just run past it and hit straight the eco. Nice little jukes with the villagers. Villagers will also garrison inside the tower, and it looks like Saymyname will call off his forces for a brief moment. TaToH now opting to go for the broad swordsman play. But as you mentioned, this is not the same as just playing into that never-ending flood of Legion. Iron Age also on the way now for Saymyname, not just yet for TaToH, but he finds a way to sneak out, get some more ground out there with down centers, and possibly an opportunity to drop some barracks and just threaten the starting base of Saymyname in the next few minutes. Still needs to find a way up to Iron though. And I think the problem is the lack of gold. If you look at his resources, accessible gold might be very troublesome right now for TaToH.
He's in a lot of trouble. I mean, I love this build order from Saymyname. This seems really crisp, really clean, and I think he's demonstrating why we saw some Hittite mirrors earlier. Just because this looks good, right? Like, this looks really good. He's going to be Iron Age, and TaToH's, like, still struggling to make units to defend. These towers really not going to be the answer, I think, and it's just, we're just a few moments from these chariot just breaking in and TaToH having no defense. But here's the big broadsword play. The timing's almost there for it. He canceled broadsword and is going with short swords. What?
Oh, that's not gonna be enough. They are cheap, but then again, you can always microwave with the chariots. This is just buying time for TaToH. Precious time it is, that's for sure. But now Iron Age coming in, ballistics on the way. Horse archers will replace those chariots. And the best thing that TaToH can do is push away some of these stone throwers. Sure enough, these swordsmen are cheap, but this is gonna be everything but cost efficient for TaToH.
It's kind of crazy to me. I think what happened was broadsword got canceled by the barracks dying, and I think TaToH just hasn't realized yet. I don't think he's like super familiar with the infantry lines in this game. Probably thinks he has the best unit he can make or something, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen him use broadswords all that much. And now we have horse archers.
It's actually working to an extent. He's getting medium wall just now. I think he revolted the opening, bought himself a lot of precious time, managed to get damage done to those stone throwers as well. And all he needs to do is just buy himself time until he gets to Iron Age. He's building a new mass of swordsmen. He will soon realize that the broadsword upgrade is missing when he tries to get his Imperial Age upgrades. I think he accomplished what he wanted over here, bought himself a lot of precious time.
Yeah, now the towers are much bigger and more spread out. The catapults, though, for Saymyname going to push in again, though. This broadsword counterattack is going to get spotted, although it's still short swords. It's killing me, man. It's killing me that he hasn't noticed. TaToH's going to be rewalling behind this. Horse archers on the way, though. Catapult almost in, which is just going to become devastating to these walls. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's an opening. Like, there's a second layer behind the tile that's destroyed, but there is no second layer behind this, and now we're talking catapults, not just stone throwers. Looks like the chariots will be sent down south. Center towers up there already. As I think this is the moment where Saymyname is realizing that TaToH has an expansion over here, and this is something he's gonna have to respect. We have seen TaToH just using such an expansion to flood the opponent's base with swordsmen. At least when he gets to Iron Age, he's going to realize that he's missing the broadsword upgrade. Indeed, he's just now clicking it, but that's going to cost him a couple of precious seconds. In exchange, he's burning down a lot of houses, which will make life a little bit more difficult for Saymyname.
Yeah, but these catapults now, with engineering, look at the range. You just can't, the towers aren't enough here. Towers are not enough. And that's a lot of cavalry archers, a lot of chariot archers, and maybe if he comes and meets up with his other army, he can get a surround? But he's still on short sword. It's going to be so long until he has long sword, which is kind of what's needed here at least. And keep in mind, the way that the chosen bonus scales with the tier of the tech you have. So he's not even getting like a good bonus right now with his military.
No, not at all. It's like plus 15 HP or something on those short swords. Will be much better with the broadswords now, but most of them got massacred. And you see reinforcements are not coming anywhere close. Horse archers also in there. Catapults now just massacring everything inside the base of TaToH. TaToH still has 28 armies somewhere, but I think it's a group of swordsmen to the south. He will try to make a run for the opponent's base. Maybe could be his ticket back into this game, but feels like it's a long shot now. If Saymyname holds that off, TaToH is going to fall apart. He's got no tools to defend against this aggression inside his base.
I mean, the sentry towers are doing work. He's almost got guard tower, which will mean more damage. But I think he lost the granary that was doing guard tower because he's clicked it again now. Oh
big
boy.
Shout out to MemTV coming in with the raid. Just now finishing KODD. Hopefully you had a great time. We are having a great time over here with TaToH and Saymyname in a brand new AoE 2 DLC. Playing AoE 1 nice and casual. TaToH was up 2-0, but Saymyname is very close to finishing this game and equaling out the score.
Now this counterattack on the south isn't quite working for him. There's horse archers now defending it, and we talked about this in the build-up, right? You just can't fight this many units all at once. Oh man, this is so tricky. The longsword play almost coming in, not enough options here, and the catapults just continue to wreak havoc on this base. And heavy horse archer is in queue, Lidakor. That's going to spell just disaster for TaToH here in Game 4.
Yeah, TaToH is down to 135 population. He's facing so many catapults. He's got a huge force of longswords now, but he's facing so many horse archers, so many catapults. And if just one shot hits, it's going to be a massacre. Another volley comes out. Beautiful massacre. TaToH just getting absolutely shredded here by the horse archers and the catapults.
Saymyname with some really good control there, and really just got the juiciest shot there with the catapults. No heavy catapult needed, which is usually what you get for that massive splash damage attack, and you can just see the Hittite horse archers. This is why we've seen Hittite mirrors on Citadel throughout this series, throughout this tournament, and this is what this is all about. The chosen play from the semifinals that got TaToH here doesn't seem like it's working in Game 4 here, and TaToH's home map, could he be going down? Is this back to the drawing board?
Very likely. Saymyname, 250 kills, just 50 losses, absolutely massacring everything that TaToH has. TaToH is down to just 16 army, cannot really rebuild, and now the heavy horse archers, they could just flood in. At any moment where Saymyname wishes to, he can just dive the eco, or at least what's left of it. TaToH will tap out, and Saymyname secures the second point for himself on the board on TaToH's home map, and we have an even series here.
Oh, baby, we have our finals. It's a best of 7, and we're tied 2-2. Oh my gosh, Lidakor, what a series ahead of us. Still so many games to go. And we can just see the eco tab there. Yeah, like we were saying, it wasn't really like about the resources or the economy setup. It was really just the matchup there. I think Hittite just, like we saw before, like Egyptian had no answers to that play by TaToH. And it felt like Hittite has every answer. He tried to go for the tower defense and Hittite catapults. He tried to mass these legions and the cav archers. So it's just sort of like, really, what are your options moving into this? And yeah, Vilhai for TaToH, sure, but does it really matter? Does it really matter when Saymyname just has so many really strong units that you can't kill on Nomad?
We're jumping into game number 5. Indeed, Minu on mirrors it is. Tato not opting to go with his go-to civilization in the quarterfinals and semis on this map, that is Carthaginians, instead just goes for the more straightforward selection of Minoans. We will have, in blue, Tato as the Minoans. He's going to place his DC to the north, and it looks like we'll have a west side town center coming in from Saymyname, also playing as the Minoans.
And notably, TaToH's dock might be really close to Saymyname's town center, which I think is going to put him in a really interesting spot for an early scout ship to be aggressive. But we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, and ooh, the docks are so close, Lidakor.
Indeed, very close dock spots over there. In general, the players are pretty close to each other, so this is going to be interesting to take a look at. Now, folks, of course, you see that there's a bit of a treaty here, which is an AoE 2 feature to Nomad, but in reality, the length of that is so small. Usually, unless you go for those super aggro strategies, you don't have aggression that fast here at AoE 1.
Yeah, and so, yeah, Nomad, so for those who don't know, Nomad is completely new to AoE 1. We had Nomad as a setting, but it was trash, so it never really worked. No one ever played Nomad in AoE 1. Now, Nomad is different. Now, Nomad is a map, and it is very similar to the Nomad map in AoE 2, so welcome everybody from Memstream, who is probably very familiar with AoE 2, so we can give some of the comparisons here. One of the things you'll note is they've both picked a Civ, which allows for very smooth scaling. They have a cheaper dock and cheaper fishing boats, which means that they have a really good scaling here for this, and aside from that, it's going to play pretty similar. We're going to see some rushing up to Tool Age and trying to find your opponent's water. So they both have water very close to each other. The big difference between Nomad here and in AoE 2 is that in AoE 2, there's a very popular strategy called like the castle drop. That's just not really going to be a thing here. We're going to be looking at some really aggressive Tool Age gameplay probably, where both players are making a mixture of archers, of axemen, of slingers, and potentially some scouts. We've seen a stable, but it didn't really work out, so I think the players could stick with the slower infantry compositions to keep their base secure as they can prep and like expand and hit the opponent. Meanwhile, while all that's happening, get ready for some chaos, because the water is also going to be extremely important to fight over. Already we can see the Vil count is basically dead even. I think TaToH has a slight advantage in both of the timings on both the villager and the dock, so he's skipping ahead to 2 Vils, and then it kind of quickly catches up. But other than that, Lidakor, what are you looking forward to here? I mean, the docks are so close. I just feel like that's going to be a main focal point for me.
I think a lot could come down to whether you find your opponent fast. You can see that we already have a villager moving out on the right side by TaToH, but given how close the players are to each other, and in general in Nomad, where you really don't know where your opponent is starting at, it's such a challenge to get that forward building up for the aggression, and it really comes down to whoever is able to find the opponent base a lot sooner.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't think we've seen, both of them are scouting kind of the east side of the map with the landmass with maybe artifacts and villagers, but not really spotting each other's TCs just yet. Now, TaToH does have a villager in the south, remember, because that's where he built the dock. So he's got a villager doing shorefish in the south corner of the map, which could become a huge pain point for Saymyname. That could be a sneaky bit. I feel like late game or later in Tool Age, that's going to be a very sneaky archery range that Saymayname's not really going to have an answer for. But we'll see. I mean, see if TaToH gets to that point, or maybe Saymyname finds that villager really early and snipes it. So now we see Saymyname going to another storage pit here, just trying to get more wood income, and also you need a second building in order to click up, so maybe missing the timing there a little bit, but no, does get it, so 24 villagers for him, and now a barracks. That's a strong plant right there. That is a good position for that. It kind of holds this whole central choke point between the two players. It's a pretty big statement, as he has another dock on the south corner, so doubling down on his fishing eco being in the south, whereas his TC is in the north. So Saymyname could potentially look to just take that out with early military units, maybe with his early scout ships, but TaToH also could strike from behind here, and Saymyname kind of spreading over to this east side, or sorry, the west side of the water. So the players moving away from each other on the water.
That first clubman now coming in here from TaToH. He's going to find those lumberjacks. Also finds the zebras around. Hello, Mr. Clubman. You could start clubbing, possibly. I actually wonder if he sees it. Did he see this storage pit? He sees the villagers building the docks, and docks, as you mentioned before, they're slow to build. Docks might be denied here altogether by the second clubman. This is gonna be close, but the dock is finished. So it's just the two villagers getting pushed away. But Axeman also coming in for Tato, and you elaborated on this one in the previous Nomad game that we have seen. Wall clicked instantly by Tato. He knows how critical it is to just not allowing the opponent from sneaking a couple of men-at-arms in your eco.
Yeah, it's really important. If these Axemen get into your economy, things get disastrous fast. And so Tato already walling up this north side. He's got this huge force to work with, which will be good for a while. But as we've seen before, later on, this becomes a big a pressure point for the opponent to add some bowmen and just range you from the wall and idle your wood line, which means they could then win the water. So even though they look safe, it is very imperative that these players find ways to expand. Otherwise, they're going to get caught in a really rough situation in mid-tool. So we have our first engagement on the water. Tato going to be caught out here 2-on-2, though. And we do have the mirror. So again, Minoan have cheaper boats. So a lot of emphasis is going to be put onto winning the water for both players, at least keeping your fishing economy alive.
Yeah, so far numbers are even on the water. Tato is trying to snipe fishing ships, though. He doesn't want to take a fight on the water. He just wants to snipe fishing ships, and so far he's been pretty successful doing so. He managed to kill the villagers that were sent out to the front, now trying to get some picks on the fishing boats, and slowly but surely his eco is pulling ahead, diving in, snipes the fishing boat, and then disengages. Also sending in some extra Axemen over here, and I think there is an opening on the shoreline. Indeed there is. Axeman now heading into the eco of Saymyname, and he starts losing villagers rather rapidly, actually.
Yeah, Saymyname just struggling to get the walls up he wanted. I think he wanted to go bigger with his wall off, but forced to have a really tight little economy here. And now he's got 3 bowmen, so these Axemen are going to get cleaned up pretty quickly. The wall off does go up, so I don't think he lost any vills, did he? I mean, maybe just a couple. So it's not too bad. If he can win the water, it'll be okay. But 5-on-5, Tato caught with the right click, does have to retreat here, but has good micro trades 1-for-1. But now 5-4 numbers for Saymyname, gonna force Tato back. But in the meantime, this fishing economy for Saymyname has been put under pressure.
Let's not forget that Saymyname is quite a bit behind on the eco department now. He's down by 8 villagers, and that's going to start showing very soon. Numbers of scout ships pretty much even between the two players, but Tato has managed to do a lot more damage. In fact, Tato's eco has never taken a beating, whereas Saymyname's did. It's slowly starting to get worse and worse here for Saymyname. Now the lumberjacking upgrade comes in for Tato. That's also going to provide an extra range for those scout ships. And that's where it really starts swinging in the favor of Tato. Also find some picks on the berries here with the scout ships.
Yeah, that's huge. Picking off these extra vills is just... It's so tricky if you're Saymyname. You really can't afford to be losing these vills. And now the wood upgrade is in for Tato, meaning +1 range on all ranged units, which means these scout ships, so we can take even better engagements against Saymyname here. And you can see he's making good use of that micro, snipes 2 fishing boats really quickly here, or just the one. Could have taken the shot there, but chose to instead reposition. 1 ship goes down, trading evenly here. And they will trade again evenly, but Saymyname now on the back foot. Full retreat from Tato, who just goes for the full surround and forces Saymyname to fight.
Yeah, he understands that right now he's shutting down the fishing eco of Saymyname. Saymyname has taken a big beating on the eco, so he can commit, sends in some scout ships from the north as well. Once he takes down that vessel from Saymyname, the fishing eco is going to be gone. And the Q, you can see it at the top right, is just much stronger for Tato. Keeps sinking these fishing boats. Now he's up by 12 eco. He's got his battle to the metal, and he's getting very close from securing another game victory for him. That would move him to match point, by the way. Looking so sharp here on Nomad.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, Tato has looked so freaking scary on Nomad. Game 2 against VNS Cool was so dominant from him, and Cool is probably one of the best players in AoE 1. So him now to look like this is just so scary. Obviously, his comfort level with the mechanics of AoE 2 going a very long way in these games, but my gosh, his Nomad gameplay has just been so good. This just looks dominant. 41 to 24 villagers. Complete ownage on the water. This whole TC section for for Saymyname he's in retreat. He's on all of his vills are on berries. Oh my gosh.
It's so difficult, right? Like, those berries on the shoreline are being shut down by the scout ships. Fishing eco is gone for Saymyname, so it's very difficult for him to get any kind of access to food. And if now Tato decides to double down on land, which is exactly what he's doing now, adding some extra bowmen and some axemen, he could just push away Saymyname from those berries inland as well.
Yeah, the population, whenever it gets to 2-1, that's when you just kind of can tell that the game's going to be over kind of soon. I mean, this is a really nice counterattack for Saymyname, idling this wood line. Tato kind of chopped right through to the thinnest portion, meaning that there's some opportunity here, but Tato's got so many villagers. He knows how much damage he's done. He could probably be okay with that loss and still feel confident in this game. Meanwhile, the micro for Saymyname, though, looking kind of hot.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can. It's just coming a little too late. Now Tato is pumping out fishing boats like there is no tomorrow. Axemen finding the villagers here on the berries. As you said, when it's double the population, that's when you know things are getting rough for Saymyname here. I would not be shocked to see Tato thinking about Bronze Age very soon.
Yeah, he doesn't have the resources stockpiled right now, but you can see that that's his intention because he's been adding fishing boats behind this. He realizes that he's just won the sea completely dominantly. So I think he was adding some fishing boats, and behind all these scout ships, he can just fully fish boom now and just completely dominate this game.
And that's exactly what he's doing, adding more fish, getting closer and closer to Bronze Age. If he gets there, it's game over for Saymyname, no questions. Until then, he might have a glimpse of hope if he manages to get a lot of eco damage done on Tato, but his scout ships will get intercepted. Most of them will be sunk as well. So water is now fully under the control of Tato, and all Saymyname can hope for is maybe being able to find some damage on land.
You say fully, but there's a scout ship with 1 hit left. Oh, so now it's fully under his control. Fighting
nice
uphill is Tato. Oh man, that's a nice little hill for Saymyname, right? Like,
yep.
It's been tricky for Tato to fight uphill there, and he's done it, but that was an expensive hill to take.
For sure,
yeah,
it was,
it seems hard.
At the end of the day, it's worth it because you're still picking off those valuable archers that are so difficult to replenish for Saymyname. Now it's an even ground fight. Tato, he's going to get cleaned up, but there's the next wave coming in. And once he breaks through this line of defense, he's going to get those lumberjacks picked off. I would love to see some scouts being mixed in, maybe, by Tato. At this point, his opponent is exclusively playing archers, so scouts could be a great response to that. Maybe even slingers.
You think he could just cancel everything and go bronze, and then the game would be over too? He's got about 700 food in queue. Not about 7. I can't do math, but a lot. He did out that stable, so adding in those scouts, I don't really see the need for this. I feel like you could just go bronze at this position, but maybe Tato feeling like he could just close this out in Tool Age.
I feel like there's no reason for him to risk it. He knows he's got an advantage. He knows that his opponent won't go to Bronze Age. So if you just keep doing this, keep exchanging armies, slowly grind down the opponent and make the tech switch into the scouts, that's going to win you the game. Indeed, first scout now coming in. It's going to soak up so much arrow fire. Even just one scout supporting these bowmen is such a game changer for Tato.
Yeah, and once that gets to 3 or 4 scouts, this hill is going to be his for sure, and that's going to put Saymyname reeling. And Tato might just go for the raid here. Tato's just being very cautious not to engage up the hill here. Saymyname still fielding an impressive military, but notice Tato's queue behind this. He just keeps queuing more and more fishing boats.
Yeah, and it looks like Saymyname forfeits the hill over here in an attempt to push away the scout. This might be Tato's window to go up on that hill, but he's just going to wait for some more forces, playing this one very cautiously. Respects Saymyname's ability to come back into games, and let's not forget, we have seen some chaotic games in this series. No reason for Tato to risk anything. He can just dive when he feels confident about it. Time may have come for that, although archer numbers seem rather even, and indeed, Tato seeing those reinforcements, he will think twice about pushing that hill.
I mean, this game has just been such utter domination from Tato. It's kind of disgusting when you think about it. Like, every element of it has been so good for him. He was up like half a vil or so in the Stone Age. He was up like 5 vils in the Tool Age, and now late Tool, he's just complete and utter domination. This has just been so clean. And it's gonna send Saymyname reeling, because now he has to play on another map, and I think they have like there's one more water map, and I just don't know if Saymyname even wants to try it, right? Like he has to win on a water map though, right? Medi's still in the pool. If he wants to win this series now, he has to find a way to win on Medi. And
Tato
that
had
seems
such a killer
hard.
instinct on Medi against Cool. Like, that was one of the best games that Tato has played against Cool in the semifinals. That will be a challenge for Saymyname. Winning this one, it's a very long shot right now for him. He's outnumbered almost 3-1 when it comes to the population. Tato is going up to the Bronze Age, and Tato is now more than happy fighting up hills as well. We'll just grind down the leftover army of Saymyname. Scouts will hit the Lumberjacks, and Saymyname taps out, making Tato the possibly the candidate, I guess, to win this whole thing, as you said. Moves on to match point. Very favorable maps remaining. Looking really good right now for Tato.
I mean, that was just total domination, right? As Mem would say, the domination, right? Like, that was just so good. It was so powerful. Like, he just won the water so cleanly. Like, and it even started pretty even, right? Like, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and then it was 5-on-5, and then suddenly it was 6-on-4 on the scout ship count. And then it just completely collapsed there from Saymyname. He just could not hold on to the water after that one fight. And usually you look to try and find sneaky ways to maybe counterattack at the enemy's fish, try to hit them on land. But I mean, honestly, he just held so well. He just held so well. Oh, the scoreboard went the wrong way, but I think that's okay. Oh boy, can Tato find a way to deal with the late Tool Age of Assyrian? Because we kind of saw that was the case in game 2, right? Was that late Tool Age. Once you get to that like 10, 15, even 20 bowmen, it seems so hard to bring down when they have that extra attack speed. And the map has been messy, right? If the map is clean and you can wall with stone walls and you can make scouts because you have farms, then I don't think it's too scary. But if you can't wall, if your economy is all spread out over the place, you don't have a lot of food, and scouts are very food heavy. So that group of bowmen can just roam around and deal damage, and you can't really afford to mass scouts in the way that you need to. But if Tato can wall his map, which it looks kind of wallable, it could be interesting. And also, if Tato gets a couple of the elephants, so this map features a large ridge, a large like kind of hill in the center, right? And there's a bunch of elephants on that. And so maybe Tato's going to go to the center and try to pull some of these elephants early to support his early food economy and really sustain that scout production. But if he can't wall and stay safe, then things get messy. And you can see there's a bunch of Bessies hanging out on top of the hill there.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And if you ever start playing into that cavalry style play in Tool Age, one of the things that you will get from it is extra mobility, and that mobility can be used so effectively when it comes to securing those additional elephants and just making your food economy very well streamlined.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all going to come down to this strategy choice by Tato. I feel like Saymyname is going to try some pretty aggressive stuff here. I think he's going to try to make sure he has an archery range on each of Tato's woodlines, right? I think he's going to want to make sure that there's pressure everywhere and that the Vils can't deal with it. Whereas Tato, I feel like his game plan is going to be to try and wall off and support a sustained economy, because that's when he can fight against Assyrians. At least in my opinion, so far from what we've seen of the meta, that feels like it makes the most sense. It would make sense in AoE 1 Classic, but the Tool Age was just so different, right? We see this new... If you're new to Return of Rome, guys, there's been some adjustments made to the Tool Age RPS system. So before, what you saw is what you got, right? Only the Slinger had bonus damage versus the Archer, or the Bowman, sorry. And now we have more of a triangle that really resembles what you see in Age of Empires 2, which is the Scout does really well against both the Slinger and the Bowman. The Axeman does really good against the Scout, and then the Bowman does good against the Axeman. So we kind of have a very similar triangle and cyclical like element to how you want to play your Tool Age. And we've been seeing that on display on a lot of these open maps, where in the past in AoE 1 DE, for example, we would see just like 50 slingers or all in axers, and that was like the extent of it. Sometimes you would add bowmen to like shoot villagers over walls, but now in order to fight effectively you need a good composition, and we've seen that come into play several times this game. Players have lost games because they didn't respect the counter system, and players have won games because they planned the counter system and played it and did these really surprising tech switches. So I really like these open maps. This one's kind of a mix of open and closed, and I'm excited to see what the players have in store for us, because I have a feeling that Saymuname's gonna not go out quietly here. I have a feeling he's got something in store. He's got a plan, surely, right?
For sure, but it looks like we're going to have a bit of a head start into Tool Age by our red player, Saymyname. TaToH a little bit slower up there. He's going to click up with one less villager too, and you asked me this question prior to this game. Will TaToH go for that same all-in style approach that we have seen from Saymyname? Very much a possibility with 4 villagers moving out here. When Saymyname did that style, he went out with 3 wills. You can justify having a little more out here because you can grab those elephants. But I would love to see TaToH doing this. Indeed, 5th villager coming in. Barracks now complete in the middle. Let's see if he's going to play into a stable. Instead, it's just going to be a storage pit. Now, one of the things that might be a little weird for AoE 2 fans in here is that hunters do a lot more damage against these large food sources, I guess, elephants, boars. So it's a lot easier to lure an elephant even with like 1 or 2 villagers.
And here's the big moment. What are these openings going to be? What is Saymyname thinking? Already getting the wall upgrade and market range, so it looks like it's going to be like a bowman defense style thing here. Meanwhile, TaToH is getting the axeman upgrade, so maybe a bit of a misplay. Going to get hard countered by these early bowmen, unless TaToH is adding in these scouts back at the Elephant Hill. That sounds like the name of some place in real life. The Elephant Hill, you know? That gap there, you can see Saymyname just checked it. He was like, is that a hole? Like, what the heck? Immediately checks it.
Have to make sure there are no holes. Like, those axemen mean business. But, yeah, there is the scout play from TaToH. You can see that in the middle. And it's the strategy that Saymyname essentially pioneered in his entire journey in this tournament. Basically stop villager production, go very heavy on the scouts. Something very reminiscent is being done here by TaToH. I think TaToH might be... Wait a second. First of all, TaToH is adding a couple more villagers, so it's not as all-in-esque as what we have from Saymyname. But Saymyname, look at this build. He's going fast bronze.
This is our first fast bronze on a non-walled map. So we've had Citadel a couple times, which for you guys is Arena. You guys joined in the middle of our Citadel game, and yeah, we've seen a decent chunk of fast bronzes there, but this is our first fast bronze on an open map of Return of Rome, like tournament gameplay. It's a very risky strategy in AoE 1. As you guys can tell, like unit players are very aggressive and there's a lot of really damaging units out, but Saymyname walled off beautifully, my dude. And he's got this bowman. He's gonna be okay against these axemen on the wall. The scout play for TaToH is not gonna do anything. And now, what's TaToH's follow-up really going to be here? He's added another barracks. Looks like he's going to try and bust down. He's got the middle map control, so he doesn't need to do a huge farm transition when he had these 2 elephants. He has all this extra food to propel his opening, but I don't know, man. He's got to move fast. He's going to be surprised by this. He's going to... I think TaToH has no idea. TaToH has no idea.
Yeah, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't. He's prioritizing just a couple of slingers over here, thinks it's bowman. He's going to be surprised to see that it is actually Bronze Age from his opponent, and now Wheel is coming in, and the escalation potential now is massive. Talk about the ability to add town centers for a very low cost. Talk about cavalry making an appearance. All these things just make that Bronze Age so valuable here for Saymyname. And with those walls up, next to impossible for TaToH to break in and punish it.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Saymyname now. Pulling out a strategy, you know, we talked about it after game 1 and 2 went just so horribly for Saymyname. He did these all-in strategies in the Tool Age. and they did not work at all. And now look at him, really pulling out some extra strategies. The Assyrian fast bronze into chariot archers is a classic, but honestly, a lot of people think it's like, oh, this is all AoE1 is, but actually, this is super rare now. So this is really exciting to see. You don't get this too often, right? You do, but like it's not the meta on a lot of open maps like this. But here we see Saymyname took advantage of a somewhat closed map, and it's looking good for him.
You know, Tato had an instance against Kyo when he was stuck in Tool Age, had to fight against a Bronze Age opponent for quite a while, almost managed to get that back under control. If you remember, in the end he fell in like a late Bronze Age style gameplay, but for a long time Tato was able to hold against a Bronze Age opponent, him being only in Tool Age, and that's still a possibility for him. He's got a healthy villager count, he didn't all in this, in fact he's up by 5 vills, though he's yet to click to Bronze Age. But if he can buy himself some time, maybe he can start steering this back under control. But as you mentioned, this is just such an uphill battle right now for him, being completely outdecked at this point.
This is actually one of the first times we're going to see one of the interesting implications of the balance. So we have seen in the past, we've seen how the axemen can kind of fight against cavalry when you're down, and how bowmen can kind of fight against swordsmen. But here, we finally get to see that scouts are actually still a good unit against a Bronze Age opponent going all in archers. So those scouts have that extra bonus damage and the pierce armor, and they're fast. So if Saymyname isn't careful and gets caught out by a huge group of them, which he isn't going to, but like we just saw one die, so we can definitely see that the scout has some power here. But this is a lot of chariot archers, man. And Tato's not up yet.
Yeah, Tato is thinking about it. For a moment, he stopped production trying to get up, and you see he's stockpiling some food, but he still needs to buy a lot of time for himself. Back at home, his base is wide open. He's got some villagers out here on the ridge as well, taking the elephants. He's made his base nice and confined, but those chariots at the very least can shut down all the farming eco. Tato, he says offense is the best defense. He's going to try and march up on the enemy base. Only to be greeted by a lot of chariots flooding his Berryvilles, and they are running in the wrong direction.
Oh, this is becoming disastrous for Tato, who had such a dominant performance on Nomad just moments ago, and is now being met by a very powerful strategy here from Saymyname. Really good prep on this map, and GG gets called. We have a game 7, dude. Dudes.
I mean, as good as it gets, you cannot ask for more in a grand final setting. Very much a back and forth series. Tato had such a good momentum after 2 games. Then Saymyname comes back, makes it even 2-2. Tato goes on to Nomad, plays a very dominant game, and now it is Saymyname who's pulling out these lesser seen strats throughout the tournament, goes with this Assyrian fast bronze chariot play, completely catches Tato off guard, and now we're going to play a decider game because of that. A decider game that is to be played on Tato's home map, though, giving him a slight edge, I guess.
Yeah, and I believe we're going into Mediterranean, right?
Indeed, let's jump into game number 7 over here. It is going to be Mediterranean. Tato versus Saymyname, 3-3. The winner of this game is going to be the champion of Dawn of Ages. It is the Carthaginians from Tato, and it is the Romans for the last game from Saymyname. Spawning on the south is going to be Tato in blue, and to the north it is Saymyname in red. And look, Winston, we're graded with a Mediterranean generation we have not seen in this entire tournament. We have 2 rivers spawning.
Yeah, so in Mediterranean, in AoE1, the rivers are random. You can get one river on the left or the right here. It depends on the orientation of the players, obviously, but in between the players on either side of the sea, you can have a river or you cannot have a river. This can mean you can have a Mediterranean with no rivers, a Mediterranean with one river on one side, or a Mediterranean like this with a river on either side. And importantly, the crossings are random as well. You're not guaranteed to get a crossing on a river. So here we can see that we did get a crossing on the left. I think when there's 2 rivers, there actually is guaranteed to be a crossing. But that's a detail we don't need to talk about because we're on AoE 2, baby, or Return of Rome. Everything's different, right? So here we definitely got one with the crossing on the left. That's going to be an important indicator. Whoever spots that is going to be in a better position because they can get the villa cross, and you can already see Saymyname moving maybe a villager over there. Oh my gosh. This is just so exciting. And on the right side, of course, with...
Yeah, it looks like he's just scouting his own wood lines for the time being. You can see that little red dot move to the left of his base. Actually getting some walls up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, just casually house walling this. It's a pretty easy wall off with those two forests here for him, so it will make it much easier to just play safe. And that's going to be a big factor in this game, because you look back to the TaToH versus Cool series, dominant victory for TaToH on Mediterranean against Cool, but a lot of that came down to a villager sneaking past before walls were completed, and then just having the barracks finished and just slaughtering all the villagers inside the base of Cool. If Saymyname gets those walls up in time, it's gonna be a completely different game.
Yeah, I mean, when Mediterranean works, we had a tournament. I think it was like a year and a half ago for AV1DE. It was called Carnage in Carthage, and it was all Carthage mirrors on Mediterranean. That was like the theme of the tournament. And man, a lot of different games went a lot of different ways. And I almost want to say that TaToH and Saymyname played against each other in that tournament. I want to say they did, but my memory isn't perfect of every set because it was so long ago. But yeah, I mean, TaToH actually played really well in that tournament. I don't think that was one that he won. I think that was one that Cool ended up winning. But yeah, this was one of those maps where TaToH was just really comfortable with the mechanics of AoE1 there, where he understood the build orders, he understood what to focus on, and when your focus starts getting split between water and land, he started becoming really strong. And Saymyname, though, already across this crossing, that is such a huge element here. TaToH, though, is very close to a full wall off with just that house.
Well, yeah, as much as you can call it a full wall off, it wasn't really a huge effort being put in there. That's a very lucky forest spawn for him. And Saymyname is going to be like, okay, what's up? Loses the artifact here to the villager. This is such a huge clue for Saymyname, knowing that there is something over there. Also, looks like TaToH is going to sneak past, but Saymyname should have the walls up in time.
Yeah, I mean, no one's even up yet. We're still in the Stone Age. There's the first click from TaToH, and there's Saymyname just behind, so we have a really close game on our hands. The next big thing to look at is those DauT timings. How quickly do players add the DauT, and what's the first thing they train, right? We've got two different civs. We don't have Minoan for the first time on Mediterranean in this tournament, so we don't have someone with the cheaper ships to really make use of a fast scout ship rush. And TaToH, does he notice this? So that Vil just walked by line of sight. Did he notice?
I think he loses the ruins, that's why. Because you look at this map, and sure enough, the house should be enough to spot that villager, but TaToH might not be looking here. But losing the ruins should tell you that there is someone nearby. So TaToH should be aware of that, of a villager at least walking towards his base. He's going to have his barracks up on the other side. Question is, how is TaToH going to respond to that villager being up there?
Yeah, but both players, neither player getting the full wall off yet. Both players are going to have an exposed economy. Unless Saymyname sends a Vil up to the north now of his base, TaToH's going to get in with the clubman and deny that wall off. And he goes. So he walks past the house there. So both players are now aware of the situation. They must both be aware. Scout ships come out. Stonewall comes in for both. So we're going to start to see that Stonewall for Saymyname. So he's going to try and protect against the woodline. And same deal for TaToH. So a very mirrored situation here. But the biggest factor now is going to be, if you lose the water, you also lose your woodline. Because there's going to be axemen everywhere else. So you have to be super careful here. The clubman getting in. TaToH has some of the upgrades. So these Vils are going to get idled under the town center. And TaToH looks for more.
He's also going double scout ships. You can see top right, he's got 2 scout ships made from 2 docks as compared to just 1 coming out from Saymyname. So that Axeman distraction could actually prove to be very useful. Here comes the scout ship, prevents the repairs and starts harassing those critical lumberjacks. This is troublesome to say the least for Saymyname. Has to flee with these villagers. It's definitely not the start what he has hoped for.
Yeah, both players getting mild harassment in on their economy, but here's TaToH with 3 scout ships, like you said, that double dock opening, and now these villagers trying to build a stone wall against the dock, gonna go down. 1 dies already, so decisive lead now for TaToH early on in this game.
Yeah, forward just now coming online for Saymyname. He's got a clubman moving in, but no axeman upgrade, no villagers being produced, nothing else, and Tato is just gonna flee. He's got a little room to work with over here, but remember, he cannot cross that little river on the north. Still gets the kills on those villagers. And look at Saymyname. Nothing in Q. Lost a bunch of villagers. 7-0 is the KD.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Saymyname just got absolutely clapped so fast here. That was so fast. Saymayname's down to 12 vills.
It's crazy.
And he has no pressure. He has no he lost the water, he lost his economy, and he has no real counterattack. He does have 3 bowmen in Q on TaToH's land, so his last-ditch effort here is to try and beat TaToH with, like, this counterattack. I don't see this working at all.
It feels like a long shot, especially because TaToH, having water control now, he's going to start mixing in the fishing ships. And once those really come online, he will have either equal archer numbers or he will just start mixing in the scouts. His houses are being clubbed down right now, but not even the Axeman upgrade is in right now for Saymyname. TaToH, he might transport here. Like, legitimately, that might be his best tool right now to get out of this position.
TaToH could do anything he wants. Like, get out of what position? Like, he's winning. Why would he leave anything? He's got this on lock. Like, I really don't see a world in where Saymyname really makes up for this. I mean, these archers are slowly building up, but he could just do the shorefish for now. He's building up archers to the right of this aggression. Saymyname has 2 scout ships alive, but no dock. Saymyname has no wood income to secure another dock, realistically. He just built a storage pit maybe in the north, but that doesn't feel like it's going to be anything.
Yeah,
oh, man.
I think TaToH is about to find it. He's heading north with the Axeman that he has. He knows fully well that that's the only direction that Saymyname could have gone. And once TaToH picks these units off inside his base, it should be over. Notably, Saymyname is going to be utterly housed over here. Vodka is highlighting that to us. Losing all those houses means that he's got a very, let's just say upsetting population cap right now. Has to rebuild those houses, which is naturally a challenge when you barely have any lumberjacks working.
Yeah, and here comes TaToH now moving out with the bowman, but Saymyname does see it. First engagement comes in. Decent micro for Saymyname. Tried to get a little bit of a block there, get some extra hits in, and TaToH for some reason is running his entire economy through this scout ship. He's kind of stuck here, but I don't think he really cares because he's just so ahead, but it doesn't feel good. He did stonewall off this right side, so he's going to be able to work something.
Yeah,
and Saymyname now trying to wall him in. Wait, Saymyname has a lot of bowmen.
This is scary. I feel like we are getting close to a very similar thing than what we had in game number 2. Just each side's taking massive casualties. As you said, these archers should be able to deal with what TaToH has right now. TaToH has to fight his way out of this one if he wants to survive. We'll have most of the villagers picked off. Axeman actually turning back just before bumping into all those villagers on the north. This might not be over just yet, Winston.
Yeah, you say that, but I mean, you have complete unfettered access to the sea. Do we see any sneak docks coming in? No. So it feels hard. TaToH has secured a woodline on the east coast now, and these vill kills are nice, but, well, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
It's very nice. TaToH is now housed, losing all those houses himself, and he's still yet to find those villagers on the north. He's looking for them. He's kind of trapped in here on the right side, has some access to food and wood, but those resources won't last forever. And I guess the alarming detail I'm looking at right now is that it's not like we see more fishing ships coming out of him. In fact, Saymyname just deleted his TC, relocates his base to the south. I think he's coming online, Winston. He's still down. Actually, never mind. Let's enlarge that panel at the bottom. I'm having trouble seeing those tiny numbers, but is that 32-19? That's the big question.
It is. It is 32-19, so
yeah,
it's not very close. But
yeah, it's not close. I agree.
But if the military is still there for Saymyname, if he can break down this gate before TaToH has units, then maybe there's a chance here. I mean, he's got the position. He's got a safe economy, and TaToH kind of doesn't outside of the ocean. And what's that I see in the very north corner? Is that triple dock? Am I crazy?
Could be a stick it back into this game. Yeah, there's a scout ship coming out. You can see at the top right. So he's getting back onto the water. I think he needs to conceal this for a brief moment because TaToH still has more scout ships, but he's about to bash his way through these walls. Archer numbers still looking a lot better for him. TaToH trying to hold off those clubmen will get the picks. Gate slowly being burnt down. You want to get through the walls, not the gate, because the scout ships are nearby, but if Saymyname ever gets in here, that could be the end of TaToH. This is all the economy that TaToH has.
I mean, I don't think the bowman can realistically sneak past this. They'd have to go up the hill, and TaToH's right there waiting for him to make that move. Meanwhile, TaToH breaking down the wall here, has the scout ships to support, and oh boy, Saymyname's position is getting a little dicey if you ask me.
I have to agree, although, you see, he's now using the mechanic of garrisoning those scout ships inside the dock, or more like just producing them into the docks, waiting for him to pop those out. He's down by 13 eco. He needs to find a way to do some damage, but don't forget, the fishing ships count as eco. So if he pops out those scout ships, pushes TaToH's fishing eco, he could equal out those eco numbers very fast.
He's also equalizing the archer numbers. Look at that. TaToH now with 27 to 16 military. So it's going to be hard for him to ever make enough scout ships to attack. It's going to be hard for him to ever make enough archers to hold this. He's going to try and hold the hill here. Has the advantage, forcing TaToH back, but briefly. Now here's 8 scout ships. Now the trick is, do you go for the fishing eco and let TaToH like group his military? Oh, and he breaks in as well.
That's big.
Oh. It's all
huge.
Apart.
Saymyname has to hold this hill. That's the only way he can take this fight. But if he does that, he cannot clean up the axemen. Looks like TaToH is going to take the fight up hills, though, getting most of his bowmen slaughtered in the process. And on the water, fishing eco is just disappearing for TaToH. Scout ships making an appearance. Look at the eco deficit just disappearing for Saymyname here. Now down by just 7 villagers. Scout ships reacting for TaToH, but they are just a little too late to save the fishing boats. And now it's Saymyname who's adding fish himself.
There's no way this is a comeback, is there? We called it so early, but Saymyname somehow has the score lead. Excuse me, Lidakor. If Saymyname ever makes it to that east side, if he ever makes it to that river, if he keeps holding this hill, like, the fishing lead is basically gone. All that really stands between TaToH and Saymyname in terms of economy is this one wood line.
Yeah,
and
but now hold the phone, Winston. The archers are gone from Saymyname, and that's the entire eco that Saymyname has on land. TaToH couldn't get in with the axemen, but he doesn't need to now. Bowmen arriving, axemen just blocking the way on the other side, and all the work that Saymyname has put into just equalizing the villager numbers will disappear in a matter of moments. There is no overchop, but all these villagers will just be trapped in here for so long.
Got some bowmen on the left. I guess your only way is to break out via the axeman route. You can't stay here chopping. That's not gonna work. But you're winning the water, I guess, is your consolation. Oh my god, so many bills are just getting peppered here. Oh, they're all just dying.
Oh, this is so bad.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, Saymyname's not realizing.
Oh, look at that. It's just a massacre. He had the villagers tossed on the faraway trees where the archers can't range them, but as they walk on to drop off the wood at the town center, they just walked into their demise. Now Saymyname has lost most of his villagers there. He still has a huge fleet to work with, but virtually no villagers on land.
He's got a couple in the north, and I guess he's going to try and rebuild there. TaToH never spotted it, but he has to kind of know now that someone was up there to build those docks, and his TC is going to go down. He won't be defeated because I'll have the TC in the north. But all those units are dead, and now TaToH's going to try and make a comeback on the water. Saymyname just leaves these villas to die. There's really no hope for them. My gosh, we have a big engagement in the naval.
Oh, this is big.
TaToH! He's
got the numbers. TaToH's got the numbers over here, and Saymyname, he's going to lose his fleet if he does that, or when he does that rather. He's going to lose his entire fishing eco, rendering him to just like 5 villagers still alive.
Oh my gosh.
I think TaToH has this.
Oh my god, TaToH. What a game, dude. I thought this was just a clap. I was like a little disappointed. It was like this game 7 was a little like lame. And then honestly, Saymyname made this Saymyname made this close, honestly. That
Very
was
close.
very like there were a couple moments there where like if Saymyname had a couple more bowmen on that wood line, if Saymyname had won that fight on the water and like pushed over to the docks to the east of TaToH, or if he had gotten some lucky damage on the wood line there. Oh my gosh. But he just didn't. He just didn't quite capitalize. And now TaToH has the numbers on the sea. And if you think that Saymyname has a good eco count, it's because he has 15 fishing boats. And I can tell you,
He had 15 fishing boats.
those are all dead. Wow. That was fun. Oh god. What a rat. He's trying again, baby.
It's the decider game of the grand finals. Of course he tries it, but let's be real. He is down to 16 population. TaToH now has dominance on land, on sea as well. No way to redock. And I think TaToH now knows exactly where his opponent's new town center is at. He's going to start marching up with the archers, the axemen, whatever he still has left. Saymyname down to just 11 population. 9 villagers, 2 military. Talk about impossible comeback over here. This is just not realistic anymore for Saymyname, but you mentioned this before. What a way for Saymyname, really, to just make this a game out of nothing, and then just TaToH turning this around, hitting that wood line, and just massacring all these vills.
Yeah, it was super clutch from TaToH to hide all of his economy on that little eastern, like, inlet, right? That river doesn't have the crossing, so Saymyname really didn't have any chance of getting there. TaToH had his navy defending the one choke point to it, and a couple bowmen on the hill, and Saymyname could never really focus his way through there, and now Saymaneme's trying to boom up again. But this time it feels like TaToH just has way too much of an advantage now. He's got 57 eco to 13. 14 population to, what was that, 80? 88, so this game is, oh my gosh, that was a roller coaster of emotion. I went from, like, kind of disappointed to, like, confused to excited to confused, and now satisfied, right? That was a series. That was a really close series. Saymyname was super impressive, man. Oh, are we writing him off too early, you think? What are the odds?
I think it's safe
Don't
to
tell me the
assume
odds.
that it will take a miracle for Saymyname to come back into this one. Just not an established position for him on the map. The only thing he really has for himself is walls, keeping out those axemen, but TaToH is going into Bronze Age. Saymyname will tap out, and with that, TaToH becomes the champion of Dawn of Ages in what was a spectacular grand final. It was very back and forth, extremely diverse when it comes to the map picks, the civ picks, the play styles, capped off by an exceptional final 7th game.
Wow. That was incredible, dude. That was like every game of this series had something like unique and interesting about it. You know, the first two where Saymyname was really trying these hyper aggressive all-ins and then they failed, right? And it was like, oh man, he's like really not getting like the right setup here. And then in game 3, suddenly he turns it around, makes it 2-1. Then he ties it to make it 2-2. And suddenly we have this crazy series on our hand. And then go back to TaToH's home map, Nomad, where he just showed his dominance once again. And then on Citadel, Saymyname was just really impressive, right? Like that was kind of surprising to see Hittite against Chosen, and Chosen just really fell apart there. I think TaToH just played so well on so many of those games, but clearly Saymyname, a close contender here, made it 4-3. And TaToH, what a road. He went through Cool and VerteX, Cool, and Saymyname. That is the that is the route of a champion. Those are like kind of in my top 5. Like, well, all 4 of them are my top 5 AoE1 players, right? So very impressive stuff from all of them. TaToH coming out on top. My God. My God.
Indeed, I'm curious at the timeline. I'm really curious at how the timeline looks like for this game. Hopefully Vodka's going to show that to us. I would love to see that, like how back and forth it was. Vodka? Oh, there we go.
Oh, we're going back. We're going back. Look at how close he got. He brought it back to even. What a claw. What a way to claw back, sorry. My gosh.
Yeah, just a near comeback here for Saymyname, but TaToH just finds the Lumberjacks, finishes it off. But yeah, crazy performance by TaToH. I'm sure he's very grateful for DauT, by the way, who was his practice partner in this. And really, you gotta give a shout out to these guys. These guys played against some of the best Age of Empires 1 players out there. They came into this one, and the moment they learned they are going to play in this one, they said, okay, we're gonna practice for this. Practiced against each other, learned the builds, and you look at TaToH's gameplay here, you couldn't tell that this guy played AoE 1 for 3 days prior to this event. Obviously, he's got some history in the game, but he probably hasn't touched the game for a year other than the 3 days he played here.